Hello, my friend, and welcome to the 714th episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today, we have a crazy man, Shane Barker, all the way from Reno. He has created a company called TraceFuse.ai. And we get into his story, how he founded it, how long it took him, and it took years. He saw an opportunity. He was determined. He was driven, a bit obsessed, and others called him a little crazy. He probably is more than a little crazy. So we had some fun talking about streaking, drinking, Irish, a few other things. You're going to have to wait and watch the whole thing to get into it. But smart guy and focused on the Amazon space, but came from the marketing consulting world. But he saw a need, and it took a while to fill it. But he is filling a big need in a big way. He is a big fish in a small pond. So you'll be inspired by his determination, his vision, and how he has modified his offer to expand his reach, get more market share, serve smaller clients viably, right? Because it's always the give and take. You want to help the little guy, but they have less money. They take a lot of time. They take as much time as the big guy, sometimes more. So how do you scale? So he started with the big guys, proved his model, and modified his offering for everybody so he can help small and large. And he sweetened the pot with some risk reversals and ongoing benefits. So, you get ideas from this that you can apply to your own business. All right. So that's what we get into. Shane Barker. And if you need that kind of help, every Tuesday I'm on live call with the Inner Circle, throwing in a lot of benefits of ongoing support as well. You get some physical items, you get some courses, but, you can post in the group every day, and I am online every day. So, for a few dollars a day, if you want help, you can join weekly, you can join quarterly, you can join annually, but you're going to grow if you show up and listen and apply yourself. Okay. So check out the Inner Circle. I'll link to it in the show notes. You can go to wesschaefer.com and it's up there in the top. Avail yourself, right? Don't work alone, especially if the economy is shifting right now and we get into a recession or a tough time or whatever. Being alone is not ideal. It's never really ideal, right? It's certainly not recommended in tough times because that's when opportunities avail themselves. It's when they come around and during the chaos. But you may need some outside fresh eyes, fresh perspective to help you see the opportunity in your field. So, like I said, you can join for a week at a time. Come kick the tires and I'll prove myself and I'll help you grow. All right. So check out the Inner Circle and then come back and listen to this episode with Shane. Shane Barker, founder of TraceFuse, all the way from Reno, Nevada. Man, welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
I'm doing awesome, man. Doing awesome. How are you doing?
Good, but I will ask the questions here, okay? Don't be flipping the script. I've got to maintain positioning, got to keep you in the rails. There's boundaries here. There's borders. There's rules. There's guidelines.
I heard about that. Yeah, I'll make sure to respect every single one of them. Don't worry. I promise you that.
I know you've been briefed. My people talk to your people. You signed the NDA. I mean, come on now. Don't be. I don't want to edit this already. Okay.
You're going to spend a little bit extra editing, a little time on accident on this one. I promise you that.
Damn it. Cut. Just never mind. Oh my gosh. So TraceFuse.ai, man, are you one of these AI bros? AI is everywhere. I don't think it's going to last, man. Kind of like the internet. I think it's just a fad.
I think that might come back to bite you eventually, but I think it's good to put out these things. It's speaking of edit, Jesus, let's edit that. Let's go ahead. And I don't know who your editor is, but let's get rid of that first part.
That's me. So it's staying.
So it's everything I say is
I can barely hit record and stop. So look, that's it, man. That's it.
You got to know your superpowers. I mean, that's important. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. So I am not I didn't go get like the AI tattoo or anything. Like maybe one day I will. I mean, it's on the, oh yeah, look at that. Huh? AI bros. Yeah. I mean, I'd get one if you got one, except when I get tattoos, it's a different situation, which we don't have enough time on the podcast. I got to only literally one tattoo, and I passed out. It was in Amsterdam. Whole nother conversation, whole different podcast. In fact, I think the statute of limitations has already passed. So I think we're good. I could probably tell you some of the story, but anyways, nobody's heard.
I was duct taped to a bar in Korea. So, we could trade some stories.
Yeah, man. What was her name? Sorry.
Unfortunately, there were no women involved.
So you're that's a serious story. I could tell by that reaction. Mine was serious too, but I think we were in different situations. I was paying for pain, and you might have been trying to get out of it. Is kind of what I'm.
I tried 3 times to get a tattoo, but the needles kept breaking on the steel,
Of
so they
course,
paid me to leave.
they're like, listen, we have no more needles. So just if you can just, we'll give you cash to leave. No, that's the way. That's why you're the sales whisperer, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you go in, you're supposed to give them money, and then at the end of the day, they give you money, and then somehow they go like, I don't know what just happened.
So did they finish the tattoo while you were passed out or no?
No, like all joking aside, no. Like the guy freaked out because I like seized and did all kinds of weird like fish out of water.
No.
Oh no, yeah, I went full like I'm not from
Was it
this
like an
world.
allergic reaction or you were just anxious and nervous?
No, you know what it is? Like I have a thing called vasovagal or something, like where my nerves, like if my body will want to just shut down. So it's like if I'm going in and getting something, anything painful, my body's like, hey, we gotta like shut this down. And I'm
Are
like,
you
no,
like
we're
those little
good, we're
billy
good.
goats that freeze and fall over?
Damn, I thought for sure you'd have said something better than a billy goat. But yeah, that's pretty much me.
That's
I
what
was
they are, right? The little have you seen them? The little
my
goats?
Oh yeah, my wife wants them. Yeah, my wife oh my God, she'll send me, they're called fainting goats. No, I'm
Yeah.
not
Oh,
joking.
yeah, yeah.
If I had
Yeah.
$1 for every time I got sent a fainting goat, I'd be a thousandaire. Seriously, that kind of cash. You're welcome. Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Well, moving right along. This is not the fainting ghost podcast. All right.
Not
Although
yet.
we could probably sell them. We could pivot. I
Yeah.
mean,
I
we
mean,
have AI. AI does everything. So we could just pivot. I could just like talk to my computer right now, right? Build us a website, e-commerce,
but we don't,
launch
I
it.
mean, how do we know that you're not AI? I mean, I could be AI. I could be sleeping right now. This could be my clone.
Hey,
How
and
about that
then
for,
with TraceFuse how to eliminate all the negative reviews. So we'll have 1 trillion positive reviews. So we can sell these goats for any price we want.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the goal. My goal is just to get as many goats as possible. Cause that's what in retirement, I told my wife I'm going to travel. And apparently she meant get a farm. It's like, yeah, no, that's exactly what I meant.
Yep. Nice. All right. But AI is in your name. So, okay, let me ask you this. AI is, in a way, it's been around a long time, right? But it's also gotten hyper popular and at an exponential scale in the last year. Using AI in your name, do people think, oh, this is new and maybe come at you with some hesitancy? Or is it like, oh, it's new, this is awesome, let me get on board before it, what's still low and affordable, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So really, we started using AI. It was about 3 years ago. So this is before Chat GPT and everything. And really, I had a very general knowledge of what AI was. I mean, you had an idea of what it was, and back then it wasn't, I would say commercial where it is today, right? Where everybody hears about it and you got prompts and you can do this and all kinds of websites. It's sometimes difficult to keep up. But what we use AI for was what we were looking at is that when we're filing cases, so we obviously remove reviews for sellers on Amazon. And what we were looking at is when we started getting more and more clients is like, first it was eyeballs. So we'd have, these people, they're called humans, I think. Well, they're going to be gone soon anyways in the next few months.
Pesky carbon
Yeah. Look at the Will Smith movie.
based.
Like that's going to be the end. I mean, anyways, it's close, but you guys will probably hear this podcast. This will probably come out right before the demise. But yeah, so at the end of the day, like what we were looking at doing is we had people or humans that were taking a look at these reviews and they were making assessments whether they were against Amazon's guidelines or not. So that's really the premise of what we do. Well, I mean, these people could only work 4 hours in a shift, right? Because it's like you're ad nauseum, you're just staring at the screen. I do it for long periods of time. That's the reason why I wear glasses now, probably. But it's one of those things that we said, hey, how are we going to do this faster? Like, how are we going to make this a system so that we can like pump through these things? Because we have a monitoring system too. So we have 500 clients. So there could be thousands of reviews that happen on a daily basis. So how do you handle that, right? How do you scale? And so we looked at it, and then AI was God, this is a natural thing that we could do, right? Because it's a very easy to, what we did is we built it out through machine learning, obviously, and used keywords and all these different things. And it's obviously over time, it gets better and better and better as you use it. And so we built that out. I mean, that was what we were doing, is saying, hey, instead of going through, we just look for certain keywords. So you can't cuss in a review on Amazon that's against Amazon's own guidelines. So guess what? I don't think I need to tell everybody all the cuss words we added, but you get it, right? We're using the S word, the F word, all the fun words, right? And we put those in there. And that's something that in a really simplistic way, it goes in, it takes a look at it. And hey, if you have the F word in a review, guess what? Then it gets flagged. And what happens is now my team of humans actually take a look at it and will file cases for those sellers to be able to get that removed, because you can't cuss and you can't mention competitors. You can't mention pricing on Amazon's platform. That's Amazon's own rules. So that's really how we started using AI. Originally, we weren't even, it wasn't .ai. We were a company called Tech back in the day. And then we decided to break that off because it became so popular. And that's when we started using AI. So that was kind of how it all came about. Like I said, I don't have the AI tattoo. I know enough about AI to be dangerous, but that was yesterday. Right. Today, I'm probably an idiot and have no idea what's going on. So, every day is a new adventure with AI. It's
It's
fun. It's
crazy.
fun. Yeah, it is crazy. The roller coaster is pretty insane. So but like anything, if you can either be on the sidelines and staring at it and have it go past, or you can jump on that wave and try to ride that thing on in.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. So what are you removing? Like if this microphone arm, for instance, I bought it on Amazon and it was fine. And then it just broke. It just literally my microphone went ka-dunk and hit the desk. And I try to reach out. And this company, it's like they have a regular website, looks good at the top. You scroll down and they have lorem ipsum, Latin
The
placeholder
Latin,
text from
yeah,
a WordPress template. I'm like, oh, that's odd. But they sell a crap ton of stuff. I mean, they're a legit company, but and probably overseas, and they just uh, push everything through Amazon. But I couldn't get any support. So I gave them a bad review. And so you're not taking down legit reviews, right? Is it the scammers or like
oh,
somebody gets butthurt about somebody and just tries to like do a hatchet job on them?
yeah. So there's a few things that we go after. So one of the main things is obviously, as I said, like the violation of Amazon's guidelines. So if somebody comes and writes a legit review, obviously the whole point of a legit review is for you as the owner to come take a look at that and say, okay, how can I make the product better? Right. Assuming that it's a legit review. So that to me is not a bad thing. You're going to get that no matter what you do. If you launch a product, build a restaurant, you do any of this stuff, you're going to get bad reviews. You're not going to satisfy everybody. That's the first and foremost. You just got to realize that if you get a bad review and it keeps you up for a week, it's going to be a really long career for you, and that journey is going to be hard. So what I tell people is like, hey, just accept it, take a look at it. What we take a look at is a lot of fraudulent stuff. So where maybe somebody's a competitor and they have a buyer's account and they come and buy your product and give you a 1-star over and over and over, which knocks you down in the sales rankings. And then guess what? They use that same account and they give themselves 5-star reviews. So what we'll see is that's fraud, right? Those
That's
are
so
going to be
dirty.
situation. Oh, it's crazy. The amount of stuff like in the supplement space on Amazon is pretty insane. Like we have clients that have spent 6 figures with us in the supplement space. Yeah, removing reviews, and they don't even flinch at the cost because they know that they're getting attacked and things are happening, but there's so much money in the supplement space for a lot of these big clients that we have. So we see some pretty awesome things there. Once again, just cleaning that up. What we're really doing is looking to even the playing field.
Yeah.
We're never going to be able to remove all negative reviews. And even if we had that option, I wouldn't want to do that. Like there's value in
Yeah.
learning that,
I tell
right?
people all the time, like a client of mine right now doing this postcard thing we were talking about before I hit record. He's an eye doctor. He's my eye doctor. He goes to my church. Great guy, and he has a 4.9 rating on Google reviews, like 686 reviews. Like I've never seen
Yeah.
so many. And I'm like, 4.9 is fine. Like you don't want to be perfect because I've seen studies. It's like people literally will question if you're 1,000 reviews, 5-star.
It doesn't
Like
feel right.
maybe okay, and he might get there, right? Like legit, but having some negatives, it just shows you're human. It's like
And it's going to happen.
it's okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. 4.9, you're fine. They're gonna. I think I trust them more now than if he had a 5-star review.
Yeah,
And
because
that many.
5-star, you start to question. You start to go, okay, wait a second, that can't be right. Now, if they just open and they have 3 reviews, great, they have
Yeah,
a
if it's 10,
5-star.
15, 50 even.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
decade in business, seeing thousands of people. Okay, 4.9. That's fine.
yeah, that's good. I mean, that's really good, actually. People are going to look
Yeah.
at that and say, hey, that's somebody that I want to work with. And it's especially if they have, it sounds like he has hundreds of reviews. The other value to that is that he's also getting ahead of the game. Because if he does have a bad experience with somebody comes and slams him, gives him a 1-star, it's probably not going to knock down his 4.9 because he has 600
Right.
good ones, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing too, is we talk about, reputation management and how do you keep control of that reputation? Because if you don't, somebody else is going to, right? Especially when it comes to online stuff. So, for us, we're just looking at reviews, fraudulent stuff, but anything that violates Amazon's guidelines too. So it could be a legit review that somebody decided to throw a few F-bombs in there or decided to mention pricing. So, what we do is we're just playing by Amazon's rules and saying, hey, that could be a legit review, but you can't drop F-bombs in there. That's not going to be, it's not appropriate. We don't see that for the kids. And so we should get that removed. But yeah, the legit stuff, our success rate is going to be right around 10 to 20%. So we only file on things that actually have violations against Amazon's guidelines. We're not filing against everything. If you come to me and said, hey, this is a terrible review, and I'm like, well, is it true? Yeah, it's true, but like I really want to get it down. It's like, well, that's not going to work for us. We had a big aggregator that's, a lot of them are gone now, but like the aggregators were like VCs kind of for in the Amazon space. They were, buying up a lot of Amazon based businesses. And I had one of them that came to me and wanted me to, they had a product, there's like 3,000 units left. They're like, yeah, we want to get down these reviews so we can sell this product. I was like, oh, what's wrong with the product? Like, why are you trying to get rid of it? And he's like, well, it's toxic. And I said, what? And he goes, well, yeah, it's toxic. And I'm like, well, then shouldn't you like discard of it? Like, I'm not, I'm not an environmentalist by any means, but I do, I'm not a doctor either, I don't think. But, like, shouldn't you guys just get rid of it? And he goes, no, we want to sell it. Yeah, we want to hurt and get rid of it. I'm like, no, I can't help you, man. Like, I'm not going to have you put toxins on the streets and me get paid for those reviews. Like, that's not how we do things. I mean, our thing is like, we want to even the playing field. We want to help out sellers. It's already hard enough to sell on Amazon or any platform, right? Just to be an entrepreneur. And so it's like, these are the things. And then when you start getting attacked and things happen, it really sucks. And especially when you spend so much time on launching a product, you know about that. I mean, you're a sales guru. So, it's like you put so much time and effort into that in Amazon, you can get one-star review and it'll kill your launch. You're done. Like, there's nothing, no matter how much time your R&D, you could spend 2 years on this and that and the other. So what we're doing is even the playing field and saying, hey, listen, there's no reason to attack each other. I am, unfortunately, from an ROI perspective, some people think it's that makes sense, but those are, I'm a big fan of karma, and it's like, man, it's not a way to do business. You don't need 6 Ferraris last time I checked. Like, there's enough money for everybody, and
who says?
Well, I mean,
you need 7. I mean, there's 7 days in the week. Well, you need 8 because there's always one needing repair.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. I'm gonna talk to my accountant.
Think about that.
Say, listen, yeah, I need a few more cars. My wife will love that. That'll be perfect. I can't wait to bring it to her. Wes told me I need another car. She's gonna be like, go live with Wes. How about that?
Hey, we got room. 5 of my 7 kids have moved out. We got a guest room.
Well, looks like
it's all good, man.
Looks like this worked. I got him. Just came out the backside. Didn't see me coming. All of a sudden, I'm living with you, brother. That's awesome, man. Thank you.
This
is being recorded too,
dude. You just missed the inaugural Schaefer Kegger, so put it on your calendar. April 10th. You're in Reno. You can drive. It's not that far.
Yeah, I can.
Friday, April 10th, 2026. The 2nd annual Schaefer Kegger.
Wow.
You don't have a birthday in April, do you?
No, I mean, I could. I could change whatever you want.
Yeah, you're an honorary. Everybody has an honorary April 30th birthday.
Oh, man, now you're just flirting. You saw the red beard, and you knew if you brought up a kegger that I would just start losing my mind. Okay.
Hey, we legit did keg stands. I may embed the video on your episode here.
Ooh,
do it.
It
was funny.
I got a keg stand. Man, I haven't done a keg stand.
I haven't done a keg stand in a million years.
Yeah,
I was not very good at it, but we did it.
2 weeks for me, but I get it. Everybody does things differently.
It's breakfast. Yeah, it's been like 30 minutes. Yeah. I mean,
I'm training for next year for you guys' big thing in April. I'm like,
I always make sure. I mean, I'm disciplined. I don't do any keg stands, within 30 minutes of starting a podcast. So, I mean, I'm a professional.
Yeah. No, I could smell it on your breath. You smell amazing. Yeah.
April 10th. Come on down.
I will. You think I'm joking? I'm putting it on my April 10th. There we go.
It's good weather down here. You can actually, if you time it right, you may be able to get some snow skiing in. Well, yeah, you can come down, hit Mammoth. You just make a week of it, man. Hit Mammoth, do some skiing, come down here, drink some beer. Saturday, hangover, go recover on the beach. Sunday, drive back home. Piece of cake. I got it all figured out.
No, that's awesome. You should be like a motivational trainer or something, man. That makes me want to go out there and do bad things and be dehydrated and then go out there and burn myself on the beach.
No, I'm going to be a travel agency. I'm going to helping people map out their trips to keg parties.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The kegger agency or something. It's coming to me. I'm going to put it into AI and say, give me some names.
Yeah, I could probably start your business within hours.
So what, does Amazon not have the bandwidth, or do they just don't care about these reviews, or is it just too hard for them to specialize in it? So they just leave it up to third parties?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that Amazon does the best they can. I mean, obviously they're an insanely huge platform, right? So, excuse me. So they're an insanely huge platform. So at the end of the day, it's like, I believe they do everything they can the same way that I believe Google, tries to stop spammers and scammers and, all these things. But the minute that, and I hate to call them cockroaches, but the minute that you stomp this one out, 10 more come around,
Yeah.
right? So I think there's always a way around the system, especially when there's money involved, right? People are always looking for ways to game the system. So I think that happens a lot with any platform that you sell on, or any place that you're trying to get higher rankings or more sales. Anytime there's a challenge, there's somebody out there willing to take that challenge. And so I think that's where, Amazon does, I think, the best they can. We just kind of pick up the slack where they're not, picking up the ball, right? So it's like, and with millions and millions and millions, probably billions of reviews on Amazon, there was a lot of things that were missed. That's just the way that it is. And so what we do is we take a look at that, like that historical data of like the reviews all the way back to when the ASIN. So an ASIN is like a SKU that you have. And so an ASIN, all the way back to when that ASIN was created. So we grab those reviews, we run those to the AI, and then we file cases on those and say, hey, Amazon, and this is against your guidelines, or hey, we feel like this is, a fraudulent situation. And we have to have, if we're going to do a fraudulent case with Amazon, it needs to have a smoking gun. Like it's not
Right.
a, hey, I potentially think something happened. Can you look into it? Amazon doesn't work for you, right? As a seller, right? So you got to be able to you got to look at the information, look at the stats. You got to really bring them a file and say, hey, this is all the things that are going on here. I want you to take a look at this, because Amazon does take fraud very seriously. Obviously, so does the FTC and everybody else that regulates and doesn't, wants to make it so consumers don't get confused. That's going to be, those things are going to be interesting. And when we file those cases, once again, it's once you remove a buyer's account that's fraudulent, that is huge success for our clients, because they're losing tons of 1-star reviews, and the client or the competitors losing their 5-star reviews. So that's where things get really
Oh,
interesting.
so you're not just taking down a review, you're taking down the whole person if they're
We
a
can't.
bot or whatever.
Yeah. If it's a buyer's account, what we do is we look at it. So I'll give you an example. So let's say somebody is buying creatine. You have a creatine company, right? Supplements. And so creatine, there are some different creatines, but at the end of the day, creatine's creatine for the most part, right? I mean, there's different quality and stuff. So what happens is, if my client is getting attacked, somebody's buying their product and giving them a 1-star, then what they do is oh my God, worst creatine ever. Diarrhea. I wear an eye patch now. I lost my leg. And people are like, oh my God, that's crazy. It's over creatine. Now, do you want to take the Pepsi challenge and buy that creatine and find out that John was joking or that he was fake? Of course not. You're like, oh, I'm going to move on to the next creatine. Well, guess what? Then you have then they talk about the competitor and they go, oh my God, best creatine ever. I ran my personal best. I'm, now benching 400 pounds from 120 pounds. Like, life is really good. I got my 7th Ferrari, which makes sense because I have 7 days in a week. There's a lot of things that add up because of this creatine, So we look at that and go, wait a second, like if they're comparable products, that doesn't make sense, right? So then we take a look, and then usually it's usually 1 stars and 5 stars, right? And if they've written tons of reviews, so in those situations, we're going to absolutely go after that. It happens less than obviously violations of Amazon's own guidelines, because there's a lot of things that can happen there. But when they do, it's amazing for the clients, because they love that, because in it's called their BSR, their bestseller ranking goes crazy. They go down, which you want to get closest to 1 for a bestseller ranking, and their star ratings go up. So usually see a pretty crazy twist, a little turn of events there, which is nice for the clients. That's what I enjoy. Yeah.
Can you help individuals? Because now that I think about it, this has been going on almost a year. I've tried to leave a review a couple times and I'm locked out. It says suspicious activity or something. I'm like, I've never done anything on Amazon. Why can I not leave reviews? Why do they think I'm a scammer?
I mean, maybe that's something you should ask yourself. Sorry. That was about Amazon. Sorry. I didn't know what you were. Sorry.
Man.
Well, I'm just saying, like, maybe
Look,
you
delete. Oh, well, what happened to this episode?
Maybe you should talk to ChatGPT. Maybe it could tell you why you're a scammer. I don't know why you're a scammer, Wes. Like, I feel like we've gone backwards. I'm not here to figure you out. You ask the questions. Okay. I wasn't even prepped for this. I didn't know that you were going to ask me questions about you and your psyche and your personality and how you
I
are
only
as a
drink
person.
in every other episode, but man, usually it's at the end, but I'm going right we're not even halfway through and
You want to party? You want to party? Or you tell me, brother. I'm Irish. Don't think I don't have a beer within inches of my hand at all times.
They say God invented whiskey so the Irish wouldn't take over the world, but
I'm Irish and we're not taking over anything, but we have a hard enough time taking over a toilet.
Hey, Conor McGregor, he's coming out swinging, baby. I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah, supposedly.
But anyway, why does Amazon think I'm a scammer?
I don't know. It's, it's
Have you ever
always,
heard of that?
so I have, I have where people can't write reviews, or they write reviews and you don't see them. I don't
Yeah,
know why that
it
is.
gives me
Is
an
it?
error. And I've emailed them, whatever. I'm like, and I've had a couple of books on Amazon, and I used to sell, man, 15, 18 years ago. I sold a book, a reseller of a book. So, but I mean, I don't have a lot of activity on Amazon, so I don't
I
write a lot
wonder
of
why.
reviews. So,
Yeah,
and I
but
can't get an
everybody,
answer. They won't reply. Because, like,
what is it?
friends on this podcast, right? People, they come on the show, they're launching a book. I'll go out and try to leave them a review. And it happened just a few months ago. I said, man, I can't leave you a review. I did a screenshot. I'm like, if you, he said, oh, just reply to them. Because this one guy, he's kind of aggressive, and he's been throttled on Amazon. Just reply to him. Okay, well, you know better than me. No, just crickets. Like, hey, I
Yeah.
can't leave you a review, man.
Do you, and that's so crazy, because it's like, especially because you're not, taking advantage of the system. If you're buying something, you should be able to leave a review. Um, Maybe it's because you're a white male.
Dude, that could be. But that tide is turning. So praise the Lord.
Yeah, no, that's good. So we can start writing reviews again. Super excited
Yeah,
about
there's
that.
one day I'm gonna memorize where all my books are. But I did a review on a
I
book
doubt
called
it.
Pendulum, and I'm having the author on, Michael Drew. He's a co-author with Roy Williams,
Hmm.
and they've been talking about how society swings on this pendulum and goes. We take a good thing too far, and then we take it too far the other way. And it was eerie, man. They wrote this book almost 20 years ago, 15 years ago. I forget exactly, but I've shared it. I did a review on it myself, and it was like right on cue, man. They were saying 2023 would be the freak peak. It's my own
Really?
my own word, but
Yeah.
we take things too far, and I mean, they're burning Teslas because
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, whatever. So 5 years ago they were burning Suburbans because you're killing the earth. Buy a Tesla. Now they're burning Teslas. But anyway, I digress. They push things too far, and it is. And I literally think like the Bud Light commercial with the dude, thinks he's a woman. Like the that blew up so hard, so fast, so severely.
Yeah.
The woman was let go because they were bragging. He was the first female, VP of a major brand and blah, 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 a beer brand or whatever. And like, if they had run that ad 2 years earlier, there'd have been an uproar, but it wouldn't have broke the back. But I think
Yeah.
it was literally the timing was literally 2023, like early 24. It's just, people are predictable,
Yeah. That's
you know?
crazy. I'll
And
have to read that book. It's called Pendulum, huh?
yeah, golly, I'll find it and send you a text. But well, you know how to use Amazon, right? Oh, there it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. I can write reviews if that's what you're asking me.
You can probably find how to buy a book. But there it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll Google
There
it.
it is. Pendulum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Michael Drew's coming on the show next.
Nice.
So smart guy. I've known Roy Williams, New York Times bestselling author, smart guy. So the tide is turning. But all right,
Yeah.
anyway, you kept saying we.
Mhm.
We all the way home. So do you have a partner or like a co-owner, or who's we at TraceFuse?
No, we is me and my team. So it's just
So
me.
this was like, how'd you get started doing this?
Yeah, good question. I actually, the way I got started is I had clients that were in the Amazon space, and I was kind of looking to do like a SaaS type product. I had a lot of friends who were doing SaaS products, and I was like, I really want to do something, I want to make money while I'm sleeping.
So
That sounds
what were
awesome.
you doing for your clients?
Consulting. Yeah, I do e-commerce consulting, influencer
Okay.
marketing, SEO, all from Shane Barker. And so, yeah, so I was doing a lot of consulting there, and I kind of was talking to people in the Amazon space and saying, hey, what are your pain points and what do you got going on? And they're like, yeah, reviews on Amazon. And that was a common thread. This was about 5 years ago. So I said, okay, well, this is, it sounds like it should be pretty easy to do. I was humbled extremely quickly. It only took 2 years to figure it out. I mean, it's, small amount of time. Who cares? You don't need to get paid during that time anyways. You can just volunteer and just throw in all your cash into
Just
the
sell one of
software.
your 18 Ferraris. Should be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, which I did because I was like, anyways, it was a Prius, but I don't want to get into that's not, it's like my Ferrari. I call it my Ferrari. And so, so I jumped into it and it took about 2 years. We finally cracked the code on different departments you can file with Amazon, and obviously fully compliant with Amazon. That's another thing we want to make sure we weren't, dropping the ball anywhere. And Now we have 500 clients and removed over 13,000 reviews. So we're the only company that's done anything close to that. There's consultants that can do onesies and twosies, but we put a system behind it, and so it's been an awesome ride. I mean, in the beginning when we started it, everybody thought it was all black hat, which is like illegal stuff you shouldn't be doing, and so I had to slap my face on there. Just mainly because when people think I'm super attractive, that brought up sales just instantly. I mean, just look at me.
Dude,
I mean,
I feel you. I feel you.
I know you. I know. When I popped on, you said species. You said, "Man, look at that guy." And I was like, "Well, that was kind of interesting." Yeah, but anyways,
I said, look at that unit.
let me put a shirt on if we're gonna do it. I didn't know we were doing video. Sorry about that. It's early in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Got all jacked up.
I did one episode with my shirt off.
Did you?
I did.
Can I ask who your guest was? Like RuPaul or no? Or who was it? Who was your? I'm just asking. I'm trying to.
I gotta go look him up. He did one with his shirt off. And he was a fitness guy.
That is awesome. I actually have done that. Like I had one time, there was a guy, this was a long time ago, that guy came out and he was putting his shirt on. Or no, what was it? It was a sale. Was it something where I was like, oh, we're taking our shirts off. So I took my shirt off and they're like, what are we doing? So we had like 3 guys and my wife came in and she's like, what is going on? I was like, close the door. Jesus, knock. What are you doing? Like, I'm in a meeting. She's like, you don't have your shirt on. I was like, you know what, woman? I swear to God. Close the door and put the lotion down. Okay, now we've gone too far. But I know.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Yeah. 715 episodes, and one of them I did without a shirt.
No, that's good. That's good numbers.
I'm kind of in control.
So what about, I shouldn't go here, pants? Asking for a friend. Do you always wear pants on podcasts? I know we're just going super south.
If you're in my 1997 per month membership, you can see whether or not I'm wearing pants.
You too can see the joy of magic. Okay. It's all included in that price.
So funny story, right? So my office is now upstairs, but for many, many years, I was in the front room, our guest room. And as a kid started moving out of the house, we had 7 kids in this house and I worked from home and we had a dog. I mean, I don't know how I got anything done, but the front door, Amazon comes, neighbor comes, whatever, dog's barking. I got a solid wood door. I mean, nothing helped, man. It was always, and we homeschooled. So it was like, okay.
Wow.
But, I was down there for years and I'd come downstairs, right, in my shorts, but then I'd have like a collared shirt on or whatever. And my little ones like, Daddy, you making a video today? Like they knew. Yes, baby, Daddy's making a video today.
That's too cute. That is.
You ever seen that Kevin O'Leary? Like he's in a full-on suit, tie and shorts.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Yeah. Everybody had. It's so funny. You see, like, I remember 20 and 30 years ago, right? Like you see it behind the scenes and you see like a news anchor in tennis shoes or something like,
yeah,
what? Like, you're just shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't see down below.
Yeah. So no, you don't. That's a whole different
when
kind
you
of
see
access.
how movies are made, just the fronts of buildings, like, oh, I didn't want to see that. And that was John Wayne, and it was all fake. No.
Yeah. A lot of reality there. A lot of reality.
Crazy world.
Yes, it is.
So why'd you stick with it so long, man? 'Cause, I mean, 2 years is a long time.
Yeah. I'll be honest. At the end of that 2 years, I was thinking, man, I need to probably get a job at Starbucks or something, like just something, bring some cash back in. I was doing consulting and doing stuff. I had, government contracts and other stuff that I was doing at that time. Yeah. I stuck with it because I'm a hard-headed entrepreneur that didn't want to, I'm accountant. Everybody was like, hey, I don't know if you're going to figure this out. And I was like, well, I don't want to have to fire you, but I would save money. Remember that. Okay. I have 2 more years to figure this out. So yeah, I mean, it took a while, man. It wasn't an easy process. But the other thing I also knew as being an entrepreneur is like, hey, it takes me 2 years and I'm not really that smart. It would take somebody that was really smart, like 6 months. Right. So I was like, okay, so I at least have a 6 months jump on anybody else that's somewhat smart. And me, I'm just, trying to figure it out and just trying to stay sober.
How do you get the word out?
Well, really what I was doing, I was going to events. I was going to all Amazon events where we'd have Amazon sellers and just tell them, hey, listen, this is what we do. And once again, as I said, when I first started, everybody was side-eyeing me. They're like, nah, sounds a little funny. And you sure not out of China? And like, do I, when I pay you, do I have to meet you in an alley? And I'm like, I do have a black van, but that's not for this business. And so anyways, yeah, it was an interesting situation because people really were like, you seem nice and kind of funny and, but I just don't know if you're going to be able to do this. And so we started bringing clients on and started moving reviews, and now we're at 13,000. So now I'm at the other, speaking of pendulum, from zero to like, hey, we can get this. I promise we can do this. We've done testing. Now we have 13,000 and people are like, yeah, there's no way you've done that. Right. So I went from like zero,
Yeah.
no way you can do it, to 13,000. Like, yeah, that's not possible. And I'm like,
Right.
I just can't win. So actually I can win because I am winning. But
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at it now. So now people, the good part about it now is I've gotten past that hump of, I don't need to convince people. Like in
Yeah.
the industry of Amazon, which even though it's big, it's pretty small. And so there's like Amazon groups of people that, I
Yeah.
mean, literally there's like, the Orthodox Jews that have like their own community. There's the Mormons that have their own Amazon stuff. Like it's these different communities.
Sure.
And so
The
once you
old
do
warrior
something good,
forums back in the day.
that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yep.
Yeah. And so
Yep.
what happens is now they have some success. Guess what? And everybody wants to share the successes they're having. So now I do probably 30 to 50 interviews, or not interviews, but like demos a week. And now I'm getting out of probably about 20, 25% of them. I'm like, oh, how did you guys hear about us? And they're naming people I've never even talked to.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
it's nice when you get to that point. I mean, obviously it's very difficult to get there. You got to have, good branding and, do right by people and all that stuff. You're not going to keep everybody happy, which makes sense. But it is nice once you get to that point where it's like, wow, I like to give people referrals or say, hey, buy you a coffee or a beer or, steak dinner, whatever. Because I people are referring us. I don't take that lightly. So we try to keep control of that in a good way. They're like, hey, trying to make sure that we give people attribution for, referring people to us. So it's an interesting spot right now. Like we only have 500 clients, and I say only, but there's 1.9 million sellers on Amazon and the US platform. So I'm the absolutely biggest company, the only one that's been able to crack the code, but yet we're this big of a company. So the growth opportunity is insane. We've already have the everything in place, AI and all that, and software is all built. Of course, we're adding features as we go, but we're also trying to stay pretty simplistic in the sense that we just focus on reviews on Amazon because there's just such a big market. Most people historically, the old Shane would have been like, oh, we got to add on 10 more services. We got to do this. And it's like, keeping it simple. This is what we focus on. Amazon goes to the right, we go to the right with Amazon. And we know that because of the amount of cases we're filing. We get a lot of information and intel there. So we know how to file cases, where to file cases with Amazon, because it's not an easy process. It's not like you just click a button. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's been a lot of people that have obviously tried to do what we do. And I'm actually even not opposed to that. Like if somebody was able to come along and figure out what we can do, I just want to help sellers. So if you can do it ethically and do good business, and hey, rock on. I have no problem with competition. You're not going to see me writing fake reviews for other people. That's not the way I do things. And the more the merrier. If as long as your intentions are good and you're here to help people and you want to make a dollar and you're going to do good right by people, rock on. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what is the model? I mean, I got to imagine it's like pay more up front to get started and get it going, and then like a maintenance to kind of just monitor and then be a little more proactive moving forward.
Yeah, no, I'll give you. So we did things a little differently. When we first started off, we were doing a retainer. And so I would grab like a $20,000 retainer, which people are already going, I don't know if you can do this. And I'm like, hey, just give me 20 grand. Let's see if we can work this out. And people were like,
that's a lift.
It doesn't sound too crazy, which it was obviously. And so I had some early on clients. Great. We were removing reviews from everything was awesome. Then what we decided to do just to switch it up so that people would be less worried about it is like, hey, why don't we do a performance based? Right. So guess what? You only pay for reviews that we actually remove. So now we took away that because people were worried, oh, what happens if this and that? I'm paying money and you don't remove reviews. So we said, all right, we'll flip it on the head and say, hey, I'll take all the risk away. I'll take on all the risk. If I file 100 cases with Amazon and don't get any reviews removed, you don't pay anything. And people are like, wait, you do that? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I do that. Well, guess what? We've removed 13,000 reviews and we charge $250 a review. I mean, do the math on it. We're not doing too bad. No, I didn't know if that was going to work. I was hoping it was going to work, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, but we had some great successes with that. We've really seen some amazing things. And we have, like I said, as I told Julie, we have some like supplement clients that are paying us six figures, have paid us six figures historically. And that's performance driven. Guess what? If I would have charged $1,000 a month and removed X amount of reviews, I wouldn't have been as profitable as I am today. But once again, when I say that, any of my clients that are listening, I am profitable. We're doing well. But just remember, with a 10% success rate, that means 90% of the time we're failing if we're filing cases. So, it looks like people go 250. Oh my God, that's crazy. It's really not, because we have 9 cases. And when I talk about filing cases with Amazon, A lot of the times we have to file another case and another case. There's a lot of back and forth. Once again, if this was easy, there's tons of, Amazon-based software companies that would be able to crack the code and figure it out. They haven't been able to. Now, today's a new day. I expect that there will be somebody knocking on my door here sooner than later, but I'm okay with that. At the end of the day, like I said, as long as you're doing good business and you're treating people right, hey, plenty of Ferraris for everybody, or
Do
Prius.
you have a tool, like I use SEMrush,
Mhm.
love it for, crawling sites, finding broken links, broken images, blah, blah, blah. Uh, are you doing something similar? Like, if you take somebody on, there's got to be some thresholds that, like you don't even want to take somebody on unless they're big enough, right? And they got to have enough negative reviews, and you got to trust that they're honest and that those are fake reviews,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point.
how do you discern like
Yeah,
who's worthy?
this is what's funny that you say that. So in the beginning, once again, we were performance based, and what we would do is we would only take on people that had at least 500 critical reviews, right? So what that meant is that if we can remove
500
10%
critical. Okay.
critical, so that's 1, 2s, and 3s. Yeah, 4s and 5s we don't even touch. We're going after the reviews that violate Amazon's guidelines that will help people improve sales.
Okay.
So we were looking at 500. That was our point. The problem is there's how many sellers have below 500, right? And so we started pushing a lot of people away, but obviously we had the kind of the creme de la creme, right? Because we're looking at, if you have 500 critical reviews, you've been selling on Amazon for a few years, you probably know your numbers. And so we were trying to get a different type of seller, a seller that really knew, hey, I understand the value of removing a review, and 250 is nothing. And we had a great amount of, we were, once again, we're taking on the top 5, 10% of Amazon sellers. Very, very profitable. And it was a great, great business. But then what I said is like, well, and then, my bleeding heart of, wanting to help everybody. It's like, well, what about the people that are under 500? Like, what about those people, or the people that just launch a product? And so what we decided to do is we decided to take on an onboarding fee. So what we did is we said, okay, hey, let's go ahead and, get this thing going. We can take on clients under 500. Originally, our onboarding fee was $750. That's a one-time fee. It's an onboarding fee, but it's also a lifetime monitoring fee. So we have these things called merchant tokens, right? So it's like think of it like a Target store. That's a merchant token. And then inside Target, you have all your SKUs or your ASINs. So what happens is we cover that whole merchant token. So we cover all of your inventory inside your Target. And what will happen is if you guys get attacked, you guys get attacked by Amazon, somebody giving you bad reviews, we'll actually monitor that. We grab those reviews and we file on them if they're against Amazon's guidelines. So
nice.
So that $750, now we actually have a promotion, which we'll talk about. We're giving a $500 discount. So it's only $250, and that's lifetime monitoring. So that's going to be, if somebody's with us for 10 years, we continue to monitor those ASINs and protect them, which is really big during, right before Christmas and Prime Day, all these times that's when you can get attacked because it knocks you down. And if you reach out to Amazon, it doesn't get fixed for a month, guess what? You just lost all of your time, your money during your busy season. And obviously
Right.
competitors know that. So our goal is to have that moat around your castle, right? And we're going to be filing cases to knock those down. So that's what we did. Now we can take on anybody under 500 critical reviews, really anybody. And we have that onboarding fee and that monitoring, which people really, really love. And the goal of that is just to protect them moving forward so that, once again, even that playing field.
Yeah. And is there like a threshold? Because you say 500, but let's say I have 100,000 reviews. I mean, is it even worth my time? Or conversely, like if I only have 1,000 reviews, but 500 of them are negative, is that like, okay, you're probably just not good?
Yeah, that's something to take a look at. When I do demos for potential clients, that's the things we look at. I'll tell them, hey, listen, like, at the end of the day, if you're at a 3.3 or a 3.2 and you have, 1,000 critical reviews and 500 of them you have a 500 or 1,000 reviews in total, 500 are critical. We have a calculator, literally a calculator. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. And you probably really should read all of them. We actually have a calculator that's inside of our tool that they can move it over, and they say, hey, if you want to get from a 3.2 to a 3.5, it'll tell you approximately how many critical reviews we need to remove for you.
Right.
So
Sure.
the reason why we did that is for ROI, right? To say, hey, if you're going to go, we have to remove 40 reviews, and that's going to cost $250 a review. At 10 grand, is that worth it? Did you go from 200,000 in sales down to 100, right? It probably makes sense to move that back up. If you went from 10,000 to 9,000, it might not make sense unless you just want to clean up your ASIN and you want to sell the brand or something. Obviously, that's
Yeah.
beneficial to clean
Yeah.
that up. But yeah, I mean, there's I don't want people to go and spend tons of money with me if they're not going to have a proper expectation of what that looks like, right? So that's where we created the calculators. Hey, go in and do the estimates. If it makes
Yeah.
sense, let's rock. If it doesn't make
Let's go.
sense, let's not do it. So
Yeah. For sure. Like, make it easy. I tell people all the time, on my Tuesday call in my inner circle, telling a guy, like, here's my dirty little secret. I hate sales. He's like, what? I'm like, I don't want to strong arm people. I don't want these tough negotiations. All of the answers are on my website. I got 1,700 posts going back to 2008, 2009. Like, I've answered everything.
yeah, it's
So I'm
there.
like, I don't want to sell you. I don't want to even educate you. I've
Yeah.
educated you. Go
Yeah.
educate yourself, then come back.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
My optometrist, right? My friend, he said, hey, I want this ad. He sends me his business card, and I'm like, Doc, no.
Stick to eyes.
So real quick, I made an ad, huge font, because this is a massive, 9 by 12-inch postcard, right? So
Yeah.
this thing,
Yeah.
it's
Beautiful.
huge, glossy, and it's this size, right? Well, actually, we're doing them. Well, we can do either way, but I think we're going to do them horizontal. But either way, it's I made it in huge font, and it said, "If this is blurry," and I put shadows and stuff so it was blurry.
Yeah.
Call Temecula Optometry, big phone number.
Yeah.
And I put the 5-star reviews, 4.9, 686. He's like, okay, let me talk to my team. Like, Doc, listen. I said, look, I would love to take your money. I said, but if you run a business card ad and it's got like cursive fonts, I'm like, you will get no business.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any business. I said, unless you run this for like a year and you just want to do like some brand awareness. Like, okay, maybe, but it's like, no, like, trust me on this. Run this ad.
Yeah.
You run this ad for 3 months, you're going to get business.
That ad that you talked about, they could use that for AA meetings as well.
Yeah, you just
that's all right. I was just thinking about that. If it's that blurry, maybe you should put your beer down and go to a meeting.
And the crazy thing is, he's super funny. He's witty. He's fun. He's a crack up. And so it's like right in line with his personality anyway. Yeah. But you're trying to stand out, when you've got something like this, like, okay, what stands out? That big flash sale. Okay, look at that big font. Okay, now let me read. These are fine. Okay, I'll keep this because I like tacos, but I don't know what the ad is until I take time.
Yeah.
So you got to stand out.
You do. My wife and I talk about that. My wife is in sales and worked at a newspaper and sold ads, and we'll go by billboards. And it's like, what did you think that just said? And it's and it's a billboard. That thing is like, it's 20 by 20. And if I don't know within seconds, or your font is super calligraphy, and it's like, wait, like it's funny because that's somebody that's just assumed, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and nobody's just saying, hey, that's a terrible idea. Like, do that at all. Like, that's not a good idea. But you got too many yes people around you.
There's something for branding, right? And if you got a big company, okay, McDonald's does branding. But McDonald's also does promos.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're not McDonald's.
Yeah.
If you don't have $1 billion and can wait a year for an ROI.
Yeah, that's not 99% of the businesses. Yeah, that's what you have to look at. It's like, what is your goal? If it's branding, great. Rock. Even then, I think there's issues. But at the end of the day, it's like, what are your goals with this, right? You want to bring in clients? Well, then you're going to have to hand it off to somebody and say, hey, what does this say? Does this make you want to call? And that's where we miss out on it. It's like, I love it when people would hire me and then tell me what they want to do. And it's like, wait a second, didn't you, if your stuff was working so well, I love you and I would love to help you, but why is it that I'm giving you ideas and you're like, no, I'm going to go with the original one? I'm like, okay, this is going to last a long time. It's going to be a good relationship. I can feel it in my blood.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I truly want to help you. Listen to me. Yes, I'm crazy, but sometimes I'm kind of crazy smart.
But at least I admit it.
And it's like, it's in my best interest to give you feedback that creates results, because you will keep advertising with me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we shall see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So you've got an offer, so we will link out to that.
Yeah.
Where else should people go? Should they just check out your website? How can they learn more about you?
Yeah, so we've got, I've got two things. So A is obviously the website is just TraceFuse, TraceFuse.ai. But I know we're also going to give you guys a link where we also created another thing too. So this is for any Amazon sellers. I created a tool, it's a free tool where they can go in and put in their ASIN, which is like a SKU, and it can run a report for them. So it'll run the report through the AI that we have. It usually takes about an hour or two, depending on how many reviews they have. And what it'll do, it actually creates a report for them, and they can take that report and give that to Amazon and get those reviews removed. So we're making it so now they can do it on their own, which, a lot of people are going to be like, it's kind of cutting into your business. I'm okay with that. Like literally, I'm okay with that. It cost me quite a bit of money to put together, but at the end of the day, I don't charge for it because I want people to have more success. I think that would be awesome. So that's going to be, it's called Amazon Review Checker, and we'll have that in the notes as well. You can go and put in an ASIN. They run the reports for free. You'll be able to see your reviews. It's pretty awesome little dashboard. And in the top right-hand corner has that calculator that we talked about that you can toggle the thing over and see how expensive that is. Yeah, if they want to, try to remove the reviews themselves and how many they think they're going to have to remove. I mean, we're obviously going to be here if anybody wants any white glove service, we'll take care of it for them. But if not, you want to be a do-it-yourselfer, that's awesome. So we created that so they can take a look at that as well. And then my email, if anybody ever wants to reach out and send me motivational quotes or something, my email is Shane, that's SHA at tracefuse.ai. And then you can follow me on all the typical things, right? I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram and X and all the cool platforms, super active, talking about reviews and influencer marketing, SEO, all the cool stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, and I'll put all those links in the show notes, and so it'll be easy to find you. You can't hide.
I never did want to hide. I've always wanted to be out there letting the world know.
Yeah, shirtless, whiskey in hand.
That's usually those usually go together. That is usually definitely a combination. And nobody's ever been like, "Hey, Shane, take your shirt off again." I'm like, I mean, I can. They're like, no, I just want people to know what it looks like for people that don't work out anymore. Like, I know.
I see empty bottles, crushed beer cans. Okay, there's a naked Shane somewhere within 50 meters of this pile of bottles.
Man, it is dangerous. Yeah, that's why my wife locks this door in my office. I can't even get out of here.
She locks you in. Got a little food slot like prisoners. Just hand you a pimento cheese sandwich.
I can't. I'm not even supposed to be close to schools or anything. Like they just keep me very, very. I was at. Don't fact check that. I'm a good citizen. Damn it. I do a good business and I treat people with respect. So that we're gonna we'll keep that in the podcast. But that was a joke. So if anybody's going to look at me,
remember? Did you ever see Dudley Moore's Crazy People?
No. Is it good? Okay.
Dude, it's like from the 80s. You remember Dudley Moore?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Drunk Brit. So he was an ad exec. And I don't remember like if he had a legit like mental breakdown or if he just went to like get away from it all. But there's a scene, and so all the suits are like, we got to come up with ideas, and brainstorming going around the room. And well, because eventually, like Crazy People, he takes over the insane asylum and they create ads. So it's like it's wonderful, right? But the big company he left, they're now struggling because he was the rainmaker. And the boss is like going around, come on, tell us something like, nobody's ever heard about you. Something, I forget exactly. This guy's like, I like small children. The guy's like, not that honest.
God.
It's like, you can't make that movie today. But that scene, you're like, whoa, wait a minute.
That just gave me goosebumps in a bad way. I joke, I make a tiny little joke, but hearing somebody say that, I was like, oh my God.
They came up with an ad. It was Jaguar. For men who want blowjobs, for women they don't even know. Dude, it was such a funny movie. Oh, you gotta go
check. I will. I'll look at it this weekend. That's my kind of humor.
I think it's from the 80s. I mean,
you can say anything.
You could say. I love it. I think Liza Minnelli was in it because they made a couple of movies together.
Yeah, absolutely.
They would perform because is he a singer or piano player? He was a great entertainer.
Yeah, he was. I remember because he also had somebody else. It was another guy that he used to work with. Oh my God, I'll have to remember it. I won't remember in the next 3 minutes.
I'll turn off the record and we'll do some Googling.
Yeah.
Shane Barker, TraceFuse.ai.
Yeah, look
at on the show, man. It's been great catching up,
brother, man. Absolutely.
Stay semi-sober, and if you can't, keep the camera off. All right.
That's it. I hear you. I got my shirt on right now to show you guys that I can do it.
It's not Seacrest out. It's Schaefer out. Okay. No Irishmen nor leprechauns were harmed in the recording of that interview. I just want to put that out there. Okay. And you should mark your calendar for April 10th, 2026. I don't know if we talked about that in the recording or not, but April 10th is going to be the second annual Schaefer Kegger. We have 6 birthdays in April. So come on out, keg stands, whiskey. It'll be good. But hey, I hope you like that. I had a lot of fun with Shane. So he's the real deal. And I did not even know his company existed, services like that. Like, I'm not an Amazon seller. So it was interesting. There's a million ways to make money in this world, and, find a need and fill it. Kudos to him for having the wherewithal, the bandwidth, the determination, the pig-headed stubbornness, to stick it out and build it. And I get it. You get this inkling. It's like, I got to go this way. Like, I feel there's something there. And I forget the exact quote from Shaw, but George Bernard Shaw, he's something like, the rational man adjusts himself to the world. The irrational man adjusts the world to himself. And therefore, all progress is made by the irrational man. So, that you've heard the quote talking to Henry Ford. Said, if I'd have done a survey, if I'd have asked a customer what he wanted, he would have said a faster horse. Steve Jobs said something similar. Like, the customer doesn't know what they want till you show it to them. And that's kind of true. So when you see something, when you know an industry, right? He didn't venture out into some crazy thing he had no experience in. He had experience. He had mastered his craft. He had mastered that field. So he was attuned to seeing, a glitch in the matrix. And so he saw the opportunity and he grabbed it. So, acres of diamonds, right? You're sitting on top of fortune. You just got to look down and get your hands dirty. So, yeah, I know you may not have 2 years to make it, whatever. Fine. So figure out a way to blossom where you're planted, sell some things on the side, because salesmanship is key to everything. Fish don't know they're wet. People don't realize that they're immersed in marketing, persuasion, manipulation, sales. You've got to see it all around you. If you don't know who the sucker is in the poker table, it's you. If you don't realize what's going on, what's being done to you, you're being taken advantage of. And you're not seizing the opportunities for yourself and for your clients. Okay. That's why I have the inner circle. It's why I do my, my Pick My Brain. I just started a new series, 45-minute free call. Hit the website. I'll link to it. That's right there on the homepage. And, I've always told my clients, give away your best stuff for free up front. And I said that this week to a guy in my inner circle. And I've always said, notice what you notice. But even me as an expert, right? I've got to remember, take my own advice, because I had noticed these videos and I didn't even notice it was the same guy. But one guy, he does pressure washing and he also does lawns, and he does free work and records it for his channel, right? I'm like, well, I love that too. So you'll start to see some episodes of the sales podcast are just me doing deep dives with people that take me up on this 45-minute offer, because the caveat is I'll give them a free session and we'll tackle their most pressing issues for 45 minutes. But I'm going to record it. And if they want to keep it and keep it quiet, because maybe we uncover some things they don't want known, okay, then they can pay me for it. My Pick My Brain fee is a few $100. So it's there's no extortion, right? There's no gotcha. But if I give free time, then that'll become an asset of mine that I will use to promote myself, and show people my line of thinking, how I work, so then they can hire me. So like I said, I'll link to that. And so if you want me to, you want to pick my brain, that's now out there. Okay. But take Shane up on his offer. If you're in the space, if you know someone in the e-commerce space and the Amazon space, particularly, please direct them to Shane, and they'll benefit. Shane will benefit. Good karma will benefit you. Everybody wins. All right. So thanks for watching. Go sell something.